One of the great things about Agatha All Along is getting to see Kathryn Hahn step back into her role as Agatha Harkness. But what really adds to the fun is the crew of witches she's gathered around her. Agatha needs this coven for a specific reason, and she's on a mission to walk the Witch's Road, which is a legendary path, known to all spellcasters. And the big prize is that whoever manages to complete the journey by passing every trial on the road gets a single wish granted. Agatha is desperate to regain her lost powers that were taken away by Wanda's spell, and she's been using a mix of smooth talking and flat-out deception to push her way along the road. Now, the 6 other witches she has assembled are also quite the characters, as they're just quirky and bold enough to match Agatha's vibe. Among the witches in her group is Lilia Calderu, who, if you don't know, is a powerhouse spellcaster, known as the Witch Queen in Marvel Comics lore. I believe she stands out as the most eccentric woman in the crew as of now, with the random premonitions and predictions she blurts out in the middle of any conversation, making every head turn in confusion. So without wasting another moment, let's discuss what exactly is the deal with Lilia Calderu in Agatha All Along. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Who is Lilia Calderu in the Marvel Comics? In Agatha All Along, Lilia Calderu is a 450-year-old Sicilian witch with a talent for divination. Having lived through centuries of persecution for being a witch, she's understandably frustrated with how witches are often portrayed in a stereotypical manner in society, and is always very quick to vent about how things like Halloween or even individual witches like Agatha Harkness have given their kind a bad reputation. It really grinds her gears that witches are so often seen in such a negative light. Now, in the past 4 episodes of the show, Lilia has given us all possible signs that she can see the future. She's been dropping hints and blurting out pieces of future conversations throughout the episodes, which could definitely be clues that can come to a full circle at the end. It would be a great way to tie her character's power into the larger story, and it would finally be great to understand what she's been foreshadowing the whole time. I mean, she even says "save Agatha" at one point, and that could not have just been a plot filler, right? So if those exact lines come back in the final episode, that would be a clever payoff. Now, the scene with her comic counterpart is a lot different. Lilia Calderu made her debut in Marvel Premiere issue number 12, which was created by Steve Englehart, Mike Friedrich, and Frank Brunner. Her first appearance happens during a major turning point in Doctor Strange's life, because just 2 issues earlier, Strange had been forced to kill his mentor, the Ancient One, who had been taken over by the demonic Shuma Gorath. Now, fully stepping into his role as the master of the mystic arts, Strange is trying to make peace with his old enemy, Baron Karl Mordo. While on this mission, Strange gets ambushed and is saved by a Romani man named Stavros, who takes him to Lilia Calderu. However, Lilia has her own plans and hypnotizes Strange in order to manipulate him into stealing a magical book from Mordo. Sadly for her, the spell gets broken when one of Mordo's gargoyles attacks and kills her. Now, the relationship between Lilia Calderu and Baron Mordo is a complicated mix of romance and betrayal. Years ago, Mordo seduced Lilia with the goal of stealing the Book of Cagliostro, which is a powerful tome that could predict the future. The situation gets even messier when you consider that Lilia is a descendant of the first Baron Mordo, making Karl Mordo her uncle, which really makes their affair uncomfortable, giving it an incestuous layer and a tad bit problematic. Their relationship resulted in Lilia giving birth to a daughter named Astrid, who was fiercely devoted to her father. Astrid was so determined to win Mordo's approval that she went as far as magically transferring her father's cancer into Doctor Strange to make him suffer. However, Mordo eventually realized that Astrid's thirst for vengeance was dangerous, so he was forced to banish her to another dimension in order to prevent her from destroying the world. For those who do not know, the Book of Cagliostro has been a key part of Doctor Strange's story for years. Lilia Calderu once used it to foresee the future of Wanda Maximoff, while Baron Mordo was obsessed with using its powers to become the most powerful magician alive. The book's significance extends into the MCU as well, and also made its way into the first Doctor Strange movie. There, we see Strange studying the book in order to unlock the full potential of the Eye of Agamotto, and the Time Stone inside it. The book's legacy goes even deeper in the What If series, when Doctor Strange seeks out the lost library of Cagliostro with the goal to learn how to manipulate time and change his tragic fate with Christine Palmer. This recurring presence of the book throughout Strange's history, both in comics and film, emphasizes just how powerful and dangerous Cagliostro's knowledge truly is. It's not just a tool, but a force that has shaped the destinies of some of Marvel's most pivotal characters. With that being said, Lilia Calderu later made a return in the Mystic Arcana series, which dug deeper into the history of various magical artifacts in the Marvel Universe. In this storyline, it's revealed that it was Lilia and her coven who discovered the existence of Wanda Maximoff, who would eventually become the Scarlet Witch. Together, Together, they end up battling the sorcerer Taboo, who wields the cursed Darkhold. Lilia's coven has some deep connections to the wider Marvel world too, and one of the members is Maria Russoff, the grandmother of Jack Russell, aka Werewolf by Night. There's also Marga Lizardos, the powerful witch who would go on to adopt Nightcrawler from the X-Men. In the comics, Lilia also drops a major revelation to Wanda that she was tasked with guarding the Serpent Crown, which is a dangerous artifact that can control others under the influence of its wearer. How does Lilia Calderu in Agatha All Along differ from her Marvel Comics counterpart? In the second episode of Agatha All Along, titled Circle Sewn with Fate, Unlock Thy Hidden Gate, Lilia Calderu is actually the first witch Agatha tries to recruit for her coven. But Lilia isn't easily fooled, and she quickly sees through Agatha's manipulation, snapping about how witches like her are the very reason why people think witches poison apples, steal children, and eat babies. In classic Agatha style, she fires back with the hilariously deadpan line saying, "Babies are delicious." Despite the rocky start, Agatha manages to convince Lilia to join her. This is when Lilia has a vision of the other witches needed for the coven, which ultimately leads her to agree to come along for the ride. Now, we already know that Lilia Calderu has the gift of divination, which allows her to see the future, but as she explains to Agatha and Teen, it hasn't always been easy. Her visions have mostly been one disaster after another, and it's gotten her chased out of every home she's ever lived in. Despite this, her abilities come in handy when Agatha uses Lilia's list to gather her coven. The group includes Jennifer Kale, Alice Wu Gulliver, and of course Rio Vidal. Later, during the Road's first trial in the episode Through Many Miles of Tricks and Trials, we start to see the coven's dark and painful history unfold. For Lilia, this means revisiting a traumatic experience from her time during the Renaissance, which has clearly left her shaken. As the witches were gathering ingredients, Lilia became distracted by the ghostly image of a woman in medieval clothing. The apparition then asks her in Italian if she wants to see something, before leading Lilia into another room. Curiously, Lilia follows her and stumbles into a strange space filled with vines, where she finds a corpse-like woman sitting at a table. The woman looks up at Lilia, just as a skeletal figure approaches from behind her. Naturally terrified, Lilia flees and cries out in Italian, "She's dead! They're all dead!" Now the credits for this episode reveal that the girl in the pink dress is a younger version of Lilia, while the woman sitting at the table is referred to as her maestra, which means teacher in English. Even though the death-like figure remains a mystery, it symbolizes death itself. As a 450-year-old Sicilian witch, Lilia has been chased out of every village she passed through for accurately predicting tragedy, and with the corpse-like woman revealed to be Lilia's teacher, this might reference the second wave of Italian witchcraft executions that took place in 1580 and 1660, around the time when Lilia was still young. Alternatively, this vision could stem from a tragedy that resulted in many deaths, possibly related to the medieval plague or a major disaster like the 1693 Sicily earthquake, which claimed around 60,000 lives. This all ties into the theme of brutal witchcraft executions, including horrifying methods like being buried alive. As of now, Agatha All Along is really hitting its stride now, and there's still plenty of time for Lilia's story to either play out as it does in the comics, or take a different turn as she navigates the witch's road. How powerful is Lilia Calderu in Agatha All Along? So, Lilia was born as a witch in the 1570s, which gives her the ability to connect with the mystical forces of the universe and shape the world around her. As we've already established, her specialty lies in divination, which is the practice of seeing future events and gaining knowledge through magical methods. But her divination often happens involuntarily, and the experiences can vary widely. She might receive intense visions or flashes that cause her significant pain, sometimes leading to involuntary gestures or movements. Alternatively, Lilia might experience sudden insights that come to her out of the blue, like when she looks at someone and instinctively mentions the name of a tarot card. She can also interpret the future, present, and past to help solve problems by using various occult methods and rituals, such as tarot cards and crystal balls, which helps her gain insight and guidance. Having lived for centuries, Lilia is a powerful and seasoned witch, whose magic is manifested through the color yellow. In addition to her divination skills, Lilia, like all witches, has the ability to cast spells. She performs these spells using specific hand gestures and incantations spoken in Latin. The theory behind Lilia Calderu's premonitions in Agatha All Along. I think Lilia's random blips are actually pieces of a single message from her future self. During her trial, which might have elements of tarot or divination, she might attempt to send this message back to the witches in the past. However, she could struggle with timing, jumping too quickly between moments and getting distracted, especially since Salem 7 is now after the coven. This could all tie into her doing a tarot reading, which would also explain her random references to tarot cards throughout the story. It's also possible that she doesn't fully realize that everything she says during her reading or premonitions will be transmitted as part of her message, and it will come out without any filters. In the latest episode, when Jin is healing Teen from his injuries, Lilia references the Three of Swords, likely alluding to the Tarot card. The Three of Swords typically signifies heartbreak, betrayal, and grief, representing feelings of unhappiness and sorrow. This marks the third time Lilia has mentioned a Tarot card, as she previously referenced the Three of Pentacles and the High Priestess. Plus, did Lilia predict Alice's death early in the episode 4 when she said, "Alice, don't"? It seems likely that we might lose Alice in an upcoming episode. Earlier, Lilia also mentioned save Agatha, and I think these predictions will all tie together by the end. It is possible that Lilia's warning to Alice could imply a situation where Alice has to choose between saving herself or Agatha. If it comes down to it, maybe Alice will sacrifice herself because she believes the coven needs Agatha. It seems like Lilia might be foreseeing these future outcomes through her unique ability, perhaps even allowing a different voice to express those possible futures. As far as theories go, this is the most obvious explanation I could come up with. But what do you guys think? Let us know about your thoughts and theories in the comment box below. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.
Oh my god, did we turn Mrs. Harden into a zombie?
She has to be cast! Where's the princess?